Good evening. This is New Air Gardener, and tonight we're gonna look into a couple of bins, see how they're doing. It's a couple bins I have ready that's gonna be harvested probably next week, end of this weekend. So we're gonna just take a look at them. Here's the first one. It should be harvested on January 7th, 2021. It'll be glad to say that 2021. Good to leave 2020 behind. So this is one of the bins. Right here is the last time I fed. There's a little bit of food scraps there. And I'm going to take out that little bit of food scrap. Doesn't seem to have any worms in it. So I'm going to just pull that out. I'll go through that. So I just want to look at it, see that's got good moisture there. There's a lot of worms underneath there. I don't know if you can pick that up on the camera, but there's a lot of worms in there. Nice fat worms. I could pick up a pocket of worms. Beautiful. Nice healthy worms. Nice big worms. So I'm just gonna check the moisture of it. Yeah, it's good. Right where pull up my sleeve a little bit. Right where the worms were last eating, that's where, nice ball of worms. That's where they're all hiding. Good moisture on the bin. I'm just gonna shake it up a little bit. Just make sure that the bin is good shape. And it's in good shape. This particular bin, this is one of two bins that when I did this bin, I was trying to use something different for the bedding, with the bedding. Still use newspaper and cardboard and my minerals, all the same stuff. But what I wanted to try is, I didn't have any compost at the time. And what I actually used was black cow. And that is a compost. And I think the name kind of fools everybody, black cow. You think it's manure based. I don't think it's really I think that's just, they do add some cow manure in there to activate their piles to get the manure. But I don't know, I did a video before, and the amount of sticks and stones and debris that was in that bag was, to me, a little ridiculous for what they consider black cow, or what I always considered black cow to be. But it had tons of debris in it. And I'm not saying that debris is bad. That debris is good if you're putting it out in your garden bed. Because it also, with the wood fibers, it's actually going to make fungi in the dirt as it starts to break down. So it is a good thing. But for what I was using it for, to me it wasn't. I don't know, I think it was a 40-pound bag. I probably would say, as far as as far as the manure or the compost that I got from it, it was probably no more than probably about 40 pounds or 35 pounds if I weighed it. I was only able to put it into 2 bins. Still with the coconut core. I just broke and did half a brick of coconut core with the newspaper, the cardboard, my minerals, and with the um, black cow. Um, and to me, it cost effective. It to me it wasn't cost effective to me. So I didn't use it. I did it as a test to 2 bins that I had. I didn't purchase any more. Um, and then also I just noticed, you know, in when it started to really break down, it had a lot of white specks in it. I seen somebody else who did a video who actually used the black cow, and I noticed when they got done harvesting their castings that it had a lot of white specks in it. I don't know what the white specks is. I'm gonna say that it's might be dolomite lime that they put in it to help break down the wood fibers and everything else that they have in it. I don't know what it is, um, but it didn't hurt the worms. Worms are healthy. Still broke down everything. Um, it didn't seem to bother them. The pH in this bin was still as normal, 7.5 or thereabout. So I'm happy with that. But this is one of the bins. I just shook it up. I am going to feed the bin, but as I usually do, when I get down to this part where I'm going to be harvesting the bin, I don't feed them any solid food, solid um, organic matter, vegetables, or anything like that. What I start to do is I start to feed them the manure. And I use alpaca manure. And that's what I put in. I just gave them a nice helping of that. I don't overdo it. I put enough for them to eat. They eat it. It'll be gone in a couple of days. And then I'll add more to it. I don't like to overfill it. But that's one of the bins that is going to be harvested. And that's the reason I do give them that, is also not to have food particles in there um, as I'm going to start to get ready to harvest it. One of the other bins that I got is another one. I'll go on this one because it's also the test bin. This one should be harvested on the 1st of 2021. But this one has more biochar in it when I did this one. But it's got the same thing. When I made this one, it had biochar, it had paper, cardboard, half a brick of coconut core, and the black cow. I mean, these worms, there's a lot of worms in there. Just pulling back just the top, it's loaded with worms. So this one, I mean, I don't know if you can see it, but I mean, there's tons of worms in there. But if you can see it, it's like full of these white specks. Like I said, I'm kind of thinking that it's dolomite lime that they put in to help break down their materials that they use. I had thought about contacting, Black Cow. I heard a lot of good things about the product being used in people's gardens and, in their flower beds and in containers. So it's actually a good product. I was following a guy who did a homestead, and he got like 2 dump trucks full of black cow, and that's also where I heard that it's not a manure as people think. It might have, like I said, manure in it to actually help the decomposition process of the product that they're using. Um, but that's it. I mean, can you see that? I mean, I don't know if the camera picks it up, but there are all kinds of specks of this white base that's in there. Um, I don't think it's anything that's gonna harm anything. People use it in their garden and things like that, so I don't think it's an issue. But I can see it, and I'm not sure what it is. I'm pretty sure if I look at the bag, go to Home Depot and look at the back of the bag and some of the ingredients that it says it uses, I'm pretty sure you'll find the lime in there as one of the components to help break down. Um, so there's a lot of worms in here, a lot of nice fat worms in here. So that's a good thing, nice and healthy. It's nice moisture. I don't know though if I will sell these two bins because of all the white stuff in it. I don't think it's anything, but it would be no different than we all add eggshells for grit for the worms. I don't use a whole lot, but from time to time I do use it. A lot of times what I do with mine is when I blend up my food, I actually add it into my food. I don't too much add it into my bedding. I add it into their food, so as they're eating it, they're getting that grit. So there's not a ton of grit in here. But there's a lot of beautiful worms, as you see. They're all on the top right now, and they're nice fat worms. So they're real healthy worms. So fat worms are healthy worms and happy worms. So I'm going to do the same thing to this one. I'm going to feed this one. I'm going to feed this one also, and I'm going to feed it the alpaca manure. I get all my alpaca manure from a local farm, organic, raised alpaca farm that's out here called Red Door Farms, and they do a lot with alpaca, so I get it from them. It's good stuff. So that's another happy bin in good shape. One more bin I gotta go through. Turn this one around because the door is one piece. So this one here, this one I fed not too long ago also. You can see right here where they've been fed. They're still chowing down on the remains of that. There is a lot of worms in there. I mean, man, look at those nice fat worms. I mean, those are nice fat worms, nice happy worms. I think, I'm looking at these worms and even the fat ones, I think we all have wow, they're coming up feeding on all that, boy. I mean, they're right up on top. I'm going to make them a little mad by mixing this up a little bit. Because like I said, this is another bin that I'm going to be going through and taking out all the castings. It's a little dry in the corner here. But that's okay. Oh, those are nice, beautiful castings down there. They're a little drier in those corners. but that's okay. Um, that's another reason why also, you want to keep the moisture, and that's also how you know you have good moisture in your bin, size of your worms, because we all know the worms live through their skin. So the good moisture is going to make them nice and fat. Also, by keeping the moisture, keeping them moist, it's going to keep them nice and fat. Um, and this is some real nice moist product. So a lot of worms, tons of worms. Um, I usually don't weigh my worms. I just weigh my castings, um, just to kind of see what I got. I'm not gonna go too crazy with this because they're, yeah. I mean, I just dug down there and there's a glob of worms. So any of the debris that I fed them that continued to break down, remnants of it, obviously went further down. Plus, this is one of the bins that I fill shallow because it's not a deep bin where I have the. Wow, look at those! I mean, this thing is full of worms. This is a happy bin. This is a happy worm bin. This thing's got tons of worms. I mean, I'm pulling from even the corner where I was saying some of the product was a little drier and beautiful castings. Wow. And they're looking good. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to go through these 3 bins that are going to be harvested soon. I mean, I usually fill my bin, this particular bin. Let's speak on this particular bin. I usually fill this bin just below the circle here, the air vent. They're breathing air vent to let get oxygen and everything else come inside for them. So that actually is right where I do. And fluffing this up, yes, it brings it up, but it's still about an inch below. So there's a lot of castings in this. When you start seeing that your bin, after you fluff it up and get some air through it, you'll notice that after a day or two, it's going to start to settle. And you'll kind of know. I've had a bin that I harvested, did it to 5 inches, and when I went to harvest it, there probably was only about 3 inches or 4 inches of product left in there. And let me tell you, that was some beautiful castings, because they went through everything and they were in there for a little longer, so they actually did pretty good. So this is another bin. I'm actually going to feed this bin too. Same thing as always. The alpaca. There's a lot of worms in there, so I'm going to go a little bit heavier on it. So just some clumps I'm just going to break up. That's another reason why you should always wear gloves. When you're dealing with different materials and minerals, you need it. Now, I also, from time to time, spray my little brown mixture. It's not a secret. All it is, make it a little moist for them. I didn't do it to the other bins, but this one I put a little more in, so I'm going to moisten it up a little bit for them. But all it is humic acid, liquid humic acid concentrate that I mix up just enough that I need in that spray bottle to spray when I feed them certain things, or just to add a little moisture to the bin. All right, so that's pretty much it. That's all I'm going to do tonight. All the other bins have already been fed. I gave them some pumpkin that I had sitting on the back porch. So they've all been kind of fed, so I'm not going to go through them. Once they eat up that, I'm going to stir it up. I'll take the bins out, show you them. And these were real nice, healthy bins. But that's pretty much all I wanted to do, was kind of go over what the bins look like and if they're ready to be harvested or not. But this bin, I didn't change the date on that. That was from 7/19. It went to 10/19 or somewhere close to that or after that. And then the next one is 10 to the 19th. But that bin looks good. And basically, because there's so many worms in there, this bin got broken down a whole lot quicker. So, all right. So once again, this is New Era Gardener, and that was just checking in on the bins just to see what they look like, and they all look good. Good moisture, nice fat worms, lively worms. Once again, I just fed them some alpaca albino alpaca manure, which is what I like to do in the last couple of weeks before I start to harvest my bins. Just so that any food scraps that are left in there gives them an opportunity to eat it up, and this way when I go to do it, there's no food remnants left into the castings. But we have a whole week. And with the amount of worms that's in here, that little bit of food that was mixed in there, remnants of the food pocket that you saw there, believe me, any of that's mixed around in there with the microbes that are alive in here, it's going to continue to break that food down and make it accessible for them. So I'm not worried about it. This bin can be done next weekend. It is New Year's weekend. I don't know if I'll get to them. Because I plan on enjoying New Year's Eve, New Year's Day with the family. So who knows if they'll get done next week or the following weekend. Won't hurt it to go another week. All right, once again, New Era Gardener, thanks for checking in. If you have any comments or like the video content, just like the video. All right, I would appreciate it. All right, thanks. Have a nice night.